This is Weekend Winners, proudly brought to you by 1Equine for the equine athlete, and we're back at Albion Park this Saturday night. A 9-race program. We officially get underway at 5:35, and it's a good card as well. I think it's either going to be a feast or a famine for punters. There's a lot of odds-on favourites that really stand out throughout that program, so it'll be interesting to see which way the results go. Do punters come out in front, or is there going to be a few upsets? Time will certainly tell. One of the highlight races this weekend is going to be the reappearance of the Janitor. This guy continues to get better and better each and every time he steps out. He's got to overcome gate number 7 on the weekend, and he's got a few in-form and fit horses to deal with. So that is going to be the highlight race. That comes up as race number 2 on the program. So we're looking forward to the Janitor strutting his stuff. He's gearing up for the upcoming Summer Carnival features, the Sunshine Sprint, and most importantly, the Group 1 Grand Circuit event, the Blacks Are Fake, on December 6. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we're going to speak with Jonah Hutchinson and Angus Garrard. Jonah Hutchinson jumps in the hot seat to go through his runners for Saturday night. There's 3 going to the track, and all 3 look like they've got some sort of chance. He's in the hot seat now. Jonah, appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Can you get 3 winners from 3 starters there this weekend?
Oh, I mean, they all have the opportunity to win. I'd love to get 3 winners, but I won't be greedy.
Would it be the ultimate night if you could get 3 winners from 3 starters?
Yeah, definitely. We've trained a couple trebles, but that's with 4 or 5 starters on the night, so it'd be awesome to get 3 for 3.
Okay, well, let's go through them. Race 1, number 1. Always a good start to land a good gate at Albion Park, and My Ultimate Mario comes into this race boasting excellent form, and now he's got this inside gate. How do you rate his chances?
I rate him really highly. He's probably my best chance of the night. He's just racing in super form. He was an awesome second in 49 last start. Like, I know he got beat a fair margin, but he also gave the leader a fair margin at the 800. So I was really happy with how he hit the line. And I think he does go a bit better for Paige now she's back on him, and he should be thereabouts.
Could you believe that last start performance? Second in 150 at the midweek level. Like, that's just unheard of.
Yeah, I said to Paige before the race, because we had 2 starters in the race, that I thought we'd go quick here because Bold Melody always showed it had some ability. And I thought just like the change of scenery might spark it back up. But I didn't think we'd go quite that fast.
Yeah, it's super fast, no doubt about it. With your guy, My Ultimate Mario, what do you put down the change to? He's always had ability, there's no question. The record proves that. But right now, he's never gone better.
Yeah, I think just immaturity early. Like, he always showed ability, but he always had his little immaturity that he did things wrong, which cost him in the end. And now he's starting to run a lot straighter and not hanging anymore and pacing a lot better. And that really helps when you get up in that higher class, because if you make mistakes in this higher class, you can't really afford to do it. It could be the difference between 5 and 10 metres, and you just can't give the other horses that.
The other key thing with Mario is his versatility. He can lead, he can do a little bit of work in his races, and he can run them down as well. What do you think is his best racing pattern?
Oh, to be honest, I honestly don't know. Like, he's super sharp off a helmet. He's so tough. I honestly couldn't tell you. I think just wherever you put him, he's always going to put in 100%. He's just so nice to sit behind.
All right. How do you sort of gauge that frontline speed? When you look at those horses to your outside, how do you sort of measure them up?
I think at Mario's best, he's got the speed to hold him out, and then it'll just be up to Paige whether she wants to lead or take a sit. I assume she'll want to lead with him just because he is racing so well, and we've been racing him quite forward lately, and if he puts up a strong mile in front, the others have got to chase him in that strong mile. So it'll be up to Paige in the end, but I think holding a forward position on him.
Okay. Distance, no concern? No issues, 2100?
No, as I said in the past, I think for some reason my horses like the longer trip better, and Mario's definitely one of them. He's sat parked and run a place in good time. Like, I think he sat parked in 54 4 or 5 starts ago and run second or third, so I'm not worried at all.
Okay. Let's go across to race 6, horse 3, My Ultimate Carter. I've got a bit of a soft spot for this guy. I don't know why, but I think he's going particularly well. Better than what that numerical form reads. Do you agree, or am I on another planet here?
No, definitely. Like, I think he's probably had half a dozen starts since he's been back in, and the best he's drawn's 5. Like, he just draws 5, 6 or 7 his whole preparation. This is the time he's drawn in, first time he's drawn inside 5. So I think we'll take full advantage of it. He's racing awesome. He was probably a little bit unlucky last week, got shuffled right back. I think if he had been more up there, he would have been able to run that leader down. So definitely hold a more forward position with him this week to put him into the race.
It's a good point you raised. When you've got horses that are getting up in grades like this guy is, like he's got a high NR rating, and if they're not drawing, it's almost impossible.
Oh, that's it. Like there's not bad horses out there these days. Like anything can run time if it really wants to. And when you're in those high grades, they're always going to put up a 54, 55 last half. So if you're coming from last, you've got to be putting up a 52, 53 last half to make ground off them. So you really just got to be up there so that way you're not having to do all that extra work.
Yeah, and this race has got good depth as well. There's a few here that you can make good cases for.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, but you're happy with the way he's going and you're going to be aggressive?
Yes, he's going super at the moment. I'd like to see him maybe improve a touch and maybe be able to get into some bigger races with him because he does have the ability to be there.
Okay. And your other runner on Saturday night is My Alderman Cobber. Now, he's another one that's got barrier 1. Was that music to your ears when you heard the news earlier in the week that he's got the inside gate?
Yeah, definitely. He drew 1 last week and unfortunately he got crossed, but in saying that, we hadn't used him out of the gate in a long time, so he probably wasn't used to coming out. I think he'll be a bit sharper out of the gate this week. I do think he is a bit better off a helmet, and there's plenty of helmets there to follow. But in saying that, if he ends up in front, he'd be a hard horse to beat.
The run was still good last week. Like, they've gone fast time, 53.5, 55.9 on the way home. It's hard to knock the performance that he put in.
No, I was really happy with him, and I said to the connections, especially his last 50 metres, because I sort of got him out, and there were a couple flashing down the outside, and they had every right to get over the top of him. But in that last 50 metres, he just put in that little extra effort and just helped him get hold on to the place check.
That last race was last week's race was at the mile, so we're stepping up to 2,138 metres again. Any concern?
He probably is one of my horses that is better over the mile, but I don't think it'll affect him drawn where he is. He's super versatile, so he relaxes well for me, and I think he'll be thereabouts.
Okay, and when you scan across the rest of the field, like his opposition here, there's no real standout. It's a very winnable race for him.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's obviously plenty of horses that you can make arguments for, but like he's racing in good form, and they're all racing in good form, but he's also racing in good form, but he's got the barrier advantage.
Okay, so we get the cash early. Race 1, number 1.
Yes, I hope so, yes.
All right, My Ultimate Mario, the best of your trio there, but hopefully you can go home with a treble there. The team is going particularly well. Hey, really appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Angus Garrard back from Sydney last Saturday night. He was driving at Menangle. He returns to his home track, Albion Park, this weekend, and he jumps in the hot seat to go through his drives. Angus, appreciate the time.
Not a problem at all, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Were you happy with Sydney last week? Both horses performed well.
Yeah, no, they both raced really well. So, they picked up good checks and sort of couldn't fault their runs. So, very happy.
Excellent. Prince of Pain, race 1 Saturday night. You had the choice of drives here. Red Star Deal, Prince of Pain. Was this an easy choice to make?
I wouldn't say it was easy. They're both racing really well without a lot of luck. I just thought Prince of Pain might get a few more options there and might end up with a little bit better trip.
Okay, 2 off the second row, so he is going to get a good run through at the start here.
Yeah, it looks that way. So, he's been racing quite okay for some time without having a lot of luck. So, if he gets the right sort of trip in running, I'm sure he can be thereabouts.
So what do you need to go right to win this race, in your opinion, on Saturday night? Because it looks fairly open. There's no clear-cut horse here.
Yeah, if we can just get sort of a soft enough trip in without having to do too much work, I'll be happy. He's just sort of ended up in spots where he's either been sort of shuffled too far back and wide without any luck, or he sort of had to do too much work. So, if we can get a snuggle along somewhere and be emerging sort of from the 2 to 300, I'm sure he'll be in with a shot.
Has he been another victim of the NR system? Like, he arrived over here from Perth on a fairly high sort of grade, so has that always made it difficult? Has he been on the back foot ever since?
Yeah, look, it probably has made it a little tough. It's just been sort of a bit tricky for him to get a roll on. He's sort of drawn bad nearly all the way through and been in strong company, and we all know how strong the racing is on a Saturday night at Albion Park now. So you can't afford to be giving away sort of any start. So he just sort of needs a little bit of luck.
All right, speaking of horses that are rising in their rankings, is Darren. You drive him in race 3. He's got barrier 1. The most obvious question, Has he got enough speed to hold up here?
Yeah, I think so. If he's right, he sort of wants to leave naturally and leave pretty hard on his own. So if he does that, I'm sure it'll be no problem. But in saying that, you know, if he happened to get crossed, it's not the end of the world. I still think he'd be very hard to beat.
Does it help, though, that you've got Bronski, Zulu and Cardles from Heaven to your immediate outside? They're okay, not great, but do they just sort of shield you enough to make you drive through and lead?
Yeah, I hope so. I think it looks that way on paper, so hopefully it pans out that way. But, you know, if he's sort of on his A game and got his mind switched on, he can sort of leave as good as we have to. So I'm not too concerned either way. You know, I'm sure he'll run a good race.
Okay. If he does lead and it plays out the way we're hoping, over the mile in front at Albion Park, and I'm tipping this track's going to be rock hard on the weekend, he could run a really big mile, couldn't he?
Yeah, look, I'm sure he could go 50 or better. You know, he's parked out in 150 and sort of been second, so he's a horse that can sort of step along good fractions, but, you know, we'll just worry about getting around safe and sort of hopefully we get the job done and look at the timer afterwards.
Okay, who's the biggest threat in this race? Would it be Beach Ride last start winner? Would it be Bronski Zulu? Is it Storyteller or Bigger the Better off the second line?
Oh, probably Beach Ride. He's sort of drawn a little awkward, but he's probably a handy enough horse when he's right. And I think Bronski Zulu is probably starting to hit a bit of form again and race quite well. So there's a few in there that are quite handy on their day, and you know, we're going to have to be right to be winning.
All right. If he does get the job done, is there a race coming up over the Summer Carnival that you're sort of, you know, marking for Darren?
Probably the Bill Dixon's the main one. It's a little bit tricky. If he wins on Saturday night, he doesn't fit in the peak of the creek, which you know, we're not too concerned about. I think he'll sort of go on to bigger and better things anyway, but it's probably sort of a little short to the Summer Carnival now to be looking at the free-for-all races, and the Bill Dixon's probably stretching a little bit long, so we might just have to sit on our hands a bit if he wins on Saturday night.
All right, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. What about race 4, the Trot? She's a chance. She's going for 4 in a row. She starts off the front, and all those others that are considered to be your main dangers are off handicap. So can she take full advantage of that setup?
Oh, I hope so, Chris. You know, she's a few weeks between runs, which probably isn't ideal, but in saying that, it probably doesn't hurt her too much either. You know, it is a step up to what she's been racing, but she has been very good at the last few, so have been very happy with her.
She's won 7 from 19 this year alone, Angus. So has she surprised everyone with the way she's just kept, you know, rising through the grades?
Oh, look, she probably hasn't surprised us. You know, we got her as a 4-year-old, and she always sort of showed quite good ability, and she always showed that she had really high speed. So we always sort of thought she would go on and take another step, but she probably just got sort of forgotten about there for 12 months. So she was off the scene for a little bit longer than we intended, and probably this year she's just sort of come back and taken that step that we thought she would.
So has that been a blessing for her, the fact that she had that good break away from the races, just allowed her to build and mature?
Yeah, look, it definitely hasn't hurt her. I think her racing's showing that, so hopefully it sort of continues to help. You know, she's sort of stood up quite good this prep, and we've been really happy with how she's racing, so hopefully she just continues to improve.
Hide and Seek, Zealous-Spur, are they the hardest to beat in that race?
Yeah, it looks that way. You know, I've sort of got a lot of respect for McGee too. He's off the front, so we're just sort of going to have to see what happens. I don't really think she's best in front, to be honest. I think she is a little better off a helmet, so I'd be happy to lead if I did, but if I could find some cover sort of close to the front end, I'd be quite happy.
Okay. Your next drive on Saturday night is Madrigal. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. You haven't driven her previously, have you?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I couldn't find anything, and I kept sort of checking, but I couldn't find anything with you and Madrigal teaming up together. So here's a great opportunity, and she's got Barrier 1 on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's right. It certainly looks like she'll get a perfect sort of trip from there, so hopefully we can work something out and make it a winning start.
Well, it looks like there's going to be a lot of pressure in this race. There's some in-form mares that like to roll along, so Barrier 1 seems ideal because they could easily run a big mile.
Yeah, absolutely, and she's a mare that sort of likes that trip in behind the speed there, and she's sort of got a good turn of foot off her helmet. So if we can be in the right spot at the top of the lane, I'm sure she'll run well.
All right, and then they've got to make you wait until the last race on Saturday night. You're driving Basilisk Bob here. He's fresh up. This is a deep 3-year-old race. How do you rate his chances?
Yeah, well, Pete and Chantel asked me to hang around to the last. I was sort of hoping they were going to say Fern Cornell, but we'll take Basilisk Bob, and you know, I'm sure he'll run good. He's first up for a little while, so I'm sure he'll need the run, but you know, he's got his fair share of ability, so he'll race well.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. He is a last start winner, and he made big inroads at the end of that last campaign. So, you know, fresh up, if he's anywhere near the mark, he could run a bold race.
Yeah, he certainly could race well. As I said, he's got good ability. He's just sort of taken a bit of ironing out. So, you know, as you said, he's come a long way, and with his best foot forward on Saturday night, I'm sure he'll run somewhere.
Best drive for you, is it Darren or She's a Chance?
I think Darren, I really think he's on the up, and I think he can go a fair way, so I'm looking forward to him.
All right, we'll take the tip. Race 3, number 1, Darren. As always, Angus, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Big thanks to our 2 drivers this week, Angus and Jonah. We wish them all the very best of luck, and hopefully there's a few winners for them both there on the weekend. Looking now for a good gamble for me on the weekend, I think we've got to be a little patient. As I said in the intro, there's a number of odds-on favourites spread throughout this card. Looking for a bit more value, I'm coming up with race 8, horse 2, cashed in. If there's a chance he can find the front, I think that certainly increases his winning chances. And I think the distance is going to pose no problem, 2,138 metres. Maybe a few of his rivals just might be a little bit, you know, found out at the longer journey. But I think he'll race well. I think the stable's going well. So race 8, number 2, cash 10. We're going to mark him as the good gamble. And he certainly represents a lot more value compared to a few of those other shorties spread across the card. We've got 9 races. We'll see you trackside this Saturday night. Our first race at 5:35.